And the final question is, could you be more explicit on your suggestions for the Socialist caucus in the NDP and its potential given the new situation?
Thank you, Jeff. I know, Sonny, you had up your end. You can do something in 30 seconds. You have the floor.
Well, like I said yesterday, there's business people that are interested in educating Aboriginal youth because the labor force is getting older. I'm wondering what you can say about that, because we had environmentalists come in and speak about how a lot of the new mining and new oil developments will be near Aboriginal land, and what legal framework can be pushed, like free, prior, informed consent and other legally effective issues that would protect the land.
Okay, thank you. Okay, brothers, you got a big challenge ahead of you. You only have 4 minutes, a strict 4 minutes each, to answer all Jeff's questions. So I'm going to start with Brother Roger, and then go to Brother Mark, and end up with Robbie.
Thank you. I don't know if I should thank me first, but there's a lot of notes here. I made a note here. I was talking about the rise of the young people in the 7 generations, and this goes back to when we started the we called it the Little Beavers program, out of the Native Canadian Centre of Toronto, and we were getting young people coming in and teaching them different skills, but also taking them out in the wilderness and getting medicines and so on, that was during Mike Harris's days, and he cut off the program. It was a terrific program. It was getting the children, doing something positive for the environment, and the program just got cut off. So that's why I say get rid of politicians, and we can look after it. And people do believe that they are the 7th generation, and they're the young people, and they are. They're graduating, and the government is getting worried about it. The numbers, especially in the western provinces, are really the number of people getting now into secondary school education is growing, and that is a threat for government, because they have learned from their elders, and they're not going to be pushed around. So I see a lot of hope in that direction, and that for anything we can do to encourage them to do so is great. And I always remember watching television one time. It was out west where they were doing a powwow dance. They were dancing all dressed in their regalia. And this was at a time when people were laughing at Indians when they were dressed in their regalia and doing war hoops, which is not ours in the first place. And this young boy was dancing with his mother. And then they all stood in line, and he looked up at his mother. I am an Indian. He was so proud. And it was the first time I saw somebody feel proud instead of saying, I'm an Indian, so what can I expect? And it's the change that I felt proud, even if in a little way, I helped in doing that. And that was threatening to the politicians. That was threatening, and I still don't understand why, except that they get threatened by everything. There's so many good questions here. I wouldn't know where to start, and I think some of the others are prepared to pick up on that. But I really appreciate the opportunity to talk about these things and hear your views on these matters, and I hope that we'll get a chance to look at some of the implementation. The first presentation is really and I'll try to get some copies of that to you in terms of the 4-pillar policy. It was an attempt to really put on paper the way government works, and you have to fight fire with fire, develop your own policies rather than wait for them, and And that's really the roadmap really to sovereignty and to controlling our own future and to protecting Mother Earth.
Thank you, brother. Mark?
On the Clarity Act, well, thank you for what he's done
The
there.
microphone.
We can't have it. On the Clarity Act, well, thank you to the CORAD to give part of the answer. The only thing I want to add is when the moment of truth came in Parliament on voting, the NDP voted for the Clarity Act. That's it. That's when it counts. I understand then before and since then the zigzag. They're politicians, professional politicians. I understand that. I'm not crazy. I listen somewhat. Then I'll see you when another moment of truth will come, and to erase the first moment of truth. That's what I'm saying on the Clarity Act. On compensation, we live in I think the basic of restoring Aboriginal right is a territorial basis. That's very important, and I told you the way I see it as exclusive territory plus some shared territories because of the complex history that we've been through in the last 500 years. Okay? Self-government on those territories. But then we live in a money society. Money, until the society change, money will be needed then. The accumulation of capital was not done in favor of the Aboriginal people. They'll need money, a lot of money at some point. And they'll have to control it, you'll have to control it democratically. Okay? And money must be given because there were a lot of plundering for all those years. And territory which were polluted, especially I'm thinking of the Moa territory, for example, okay, in Montreal. So billions of dollars will have to be actually given as a historical compensation and environmental compensation. Okay, but it's not the basis. The basis is definitively territorial rights and self-government. Okay, otherwise money is corrupting. That's all. Okay. Your question,
I'll disappoint you.
I'll disappoint you somewhat. There are a bunch of new people that are not known from the left. We know some of them, of course. There's two people I know that are a member of Quebec Solidaire. I mentioned one, actually. Another one, apparently, that I don't know elsewhere. A lot of them are women. There's a high proportion. I'm not sure which one, but it's a high proportion. Proportion of youth is important also. Of people working in unions, either as permanent, staff people or activists, rank and file. I don't know the proportion, but it's significant. And that's about all I know. We'll have to discover. I told you about the initiative that my writing will take. We made the proposition, already done. We're waiting for an answer. We want to meet her and meet them. And we'll understand more where they're heading. We'll read the newspaper. I'll ask questions when I go to meetings, and a collective knowledge will come out of it. That's all I can answer. Would I be beaten? Maybe I would have voted for him. I regret that he has been beaten. But I don't regret having voted NDP at the end. It's enough. So he tried to to please everybody. Typical of him. He always did that. Okay? Square the circle all the time. But he did vote NDP, which means that they're probably looking for some collaboration. I don't know which one. I'm not an insider. I'll have to discover all that. And that's all I know. Okay. And that's it. That's all I can answer.
Thank you. Robbie?
Well, just to answer your question, I didn't mean in any way to suggest that there haven't been very significant struggles by Indigenous peoples to defend their traditional rights, and often under circumstances of facing a great deal of repression. And even defending their sovereign rights, but just that up to this point we haven't had a demand for an independent state on Indigenous land, even in the areas where they constitute a majority, where potentially, I'm not saying it couldn't come. And I agree with Marc that the question of compensation, of reparations for what was done to Native people has to be front row center, above and beyond the existing treaty rights. And as far as Quebec, well, I would just add around the position of the one deputy for Quebec Solidaire, Amir Kadir, that he also had some very kind words, overly kind words for Jack Layton that seemed to imply a confidence in Layton's openness to dealing with Quebec's national aspirations, which I think are vastly overblown. But as Marc said, he tries to please everybody, so we'll have to see.
Okay. Thank you, brothers. And I was very pleased that you all of you talked about the oppressed people in Newfoundland in your presentations. That made me feel good. Even though I was born in Sweden, I was raised in Newfoundland, so I'm a Newfoundlander. And we have 7 federal seats there. 2 of them are NDP. And it's good, I know for sure one of the NDPs is an avid campaigner and supporter for the independence of Newfoundland. So anyway, that's comrades and friends is the end of our session. Yes, Barry, you have an announcement?
No, it's we usually end the festivities on a song.
That's, well, usually it's at the convention, but it's new this time, so yes, we can certainly do that. And I'm sure you'll tell us what the song is.
Well, it's not a very big secret. I think folks will find the words to the Internationale, the anthem of the worldwide working class, on the tables in front of you.
Jack is back.
Extra copies, if you don't have one directly in front of you, you just have to walk 2 paces and it's there.
En anglais, français?
And you can sing it in French, in Spanish, in English, in Urdu, in Cree, any way you wish. Everyone is welcome.
With the aid of the sheet.
Roger has something very brief to say.
Sure.
Just, I'm going to sing along with it, but if you sing our home, it's not and native land, it's our home on
Native land. Well, that's another song. But whenever I have to observe "O Canada" being sung, I always add or amend the words in that fashion.
And I always add daughters in a loud voice.
And we welcome everyone who is in solidarity with this message. The words of the Paris workers who rose up and established the first workers' government in the history of the world in 1871. And these words were written while those workers, rebellious, fighting for the power of the majority, were drowned in blood by the Versailles armies and the invaders from Prussia. But in any case, the message lives on.
The workers then.
So join us at the convention if you want to join Socialist Action and continue the struggle. It'll be getting underway after a brief interlude with the film and time to grab a sandwich. So be back here at 2 o'clock. And here we go. Arise, ye prisoners of starvation. Arise, ye wretched of the earth. For justice thunders condemnation. A better world's in birth. No more traditional change shall bind us. Arise, ye slaves, no more enthrall. The earth shall rise on new foundations. We have been not, we shall be all. 'Tis the final conflict, letting stand in their place. The international working class shall be the human race. 'Tis the final conflict, letting stand in their place. The international working class shall be the human race. Solidarity.